No, welcome back. Oh my goodness gracious. Absolutely messing everybody up with some technical difficulties. That is my fault, everybody. I'm sorry. Welcome back into the Joe Gaither Show. I was paranoid because I couldn't hear Mason Woods, but you guys could. So that was all that matters because Mason was giving us some insight on the Alabama-Tennessee game, and we're going to pick right back up with the run game. We got a big show planned for you today. We're going to combine these two segments on our podcast platforms and on our video streams if you're watching this back on the Bama Central YouTube channel. So we'll make that nice and smooth. But really, I was just complaining about the lack of usage of Jammin Justice in the run game. You only give him 4 carries in the fourth quarter on a night where Jalen is struggling, on a night where we'll talk about if he was hurt or not, and we'll talk about all his struggles. Why not take the weight off of him by using 5-star running back Justice Haynes, by using, Jam may as well be a 5-star. He's really shown the ability to be explosive. I just wish that maybe I was a little watching the game with envy, the way that Tennessee was controlling the pace of the game with Dylan Sampson. Yeah, taking their shots with Nico Iamaleava, and we'll talk about those shots as well, but it's controlling the pace with Dylan Sampson, and we'll bring Mason right back in right there. Sorry, I didn't punch him back in, but he was getting lined back in there. Mason, you were saying about the running game before we move on to Jalen Milroe.
Yeah, I think you were kind of hitting on it there. It's just the lack of usage was kind of concerning me, because I think Jam and Justice both are backs that take some time to get going. They're both explosive, hit you hard kind of running backs. I don't think either of them are necessarily like a burner, going to get you on the edge. So I think their style of play, it kind of have to force it, kind of have to just stick with it until it works. And a lot of the time it will work. Stick with it. But for whatever reason, Kalen DeBoer and company were afraid to do so.
How many times? I know I really, really do not want to remember when Coach Saban did this, because I've been hating that narrative. But I think back to 2009 when it's Mark Ingram for 3 yards, it's Mark Ingram for 4 yards, and it's Greg McElroy to Julio Jones on a play-action pass because he's wide open and it's an easy pass for 6 yards and you're moving the chains. Look, I love the highlight play, the bomb shot to Ryan Williams. I love the deep shots to Jeremy Bernard. But you've got these backs, and Richard Young, we know he got hurt, and we reportedly he's back healthy now. You've got these running backs. You've got this interior offensive line that is supposedly Parker Brailsford, #1 center in college football, that Tyler Booker, maybe borderline first-round pick. But you're just not, to me, you're not taking advantage of your skill set. You're putting all the weight on Jalen Milroe.
I agree with that. I love Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe is a fantastic quarterback. I think Jalen Milroe can win you a lot of football. He has won a lot of football. But I think they're just asking him to do a little too much.
Yeah.
I don't think that throwing the ball 45 times a game is really in his wheelhouse. I think he is a throw the ball 25 times a game. And that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't know why everybody wants to turn their nose up at a guy who only throws the ball 25 times a game and maybe only passes for 240 yards. Like, that's a great game if they win.
If you're not turning the football over, you're marching down the field and you're letting your other playmakers get involved. Yes.
I think, what his first few weeks of the season, I think we saw him play some of the best football he's played since he's been at Alabama. That Georgia game especially, that I think hands down, especially the first half, that's the best football I've ever seen Jalen Milroe play since he's been in an Alabama uniform. From the second half of that Georgia game to now, it's like he's regressed back to the first snaps he took when he got on the field. And it's just, you wonder why that has happened. And I think it's the coaching staff just too much on it.
So you see Tennessee with a lot of loaded boxes, and they're reportedly Jalen's got the ability to get you in and out of plays. And Jalen is given the free reign to get you in and out of plays. At what point do you say, hey man, we're just calling this run play. We're just calling this play. And I know if it's a bad look, you can flip it to the other one. Like, I understand throwing the football against a loaded box. I get that. But at this point in the year, these defenses have decided that your best bet is pretty much load the box. Get Jalen Milroe before he can get going. Get out on the edge, really overload. Tennessee did a great job crushing you on the edge. Not really that much up the middle, but Caden Proctor and Elijah Pritchett, they were SOL. They had bad nights, and really, even schematically, even when they were making their own blocks, there were people coming off the edge just because of what Tennessee was doing number-wise. And so it just doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm not the football expert, but it just doesn't make any sense to me. You got any more comments before we dive really into Jalen?
No, I think we can go on. As much as I love him, that was not one of his best.
Not one of his best performances. I contend that it was at least his second worst performance. It wasn't as bad as your first start ever against Texas A&M, but buddy, it was close. It was close, and it was really horrific, and I'm not really even sure why. But you're looking at Jalen Milroe. Look, you got people online, and I'm giving my uncle a little hell for saying, does Alabama have any other receivers other than number 2? And I'm saying, oh, well, 6 different receivers caught a pass. 8 different receivers caught a pass. How many receivers caught a pass? 6 or 7, somewhere in that range. Yeah, you did have multiple receivers catch a pass, but only one receiver had 18 targets. And I know that Jalen's probably sitting there thinking back to all the times in practice of, I threw it up to number 2 and he made a miraculous play. And look, Ryan Williams was open a good portion of these times, so it's not like they were all bad decisions. But you just got fixated. And like you said, regression. I thought back to the Wisconsin game, one of the best games Jalen Milroe has played in an Alabama uniform. You found Ryan Williams on a vertical shot. You found Jeremy Bernard on a vertical shot. You orchestrated their run game. You didn't turn the football over, right? In the Wisconsin game, everything stayed on schedule. You avoided negative plays. It was a great performance, and then you have the week off and you're playing against Georgia. I really think I need to go back and watch the Georgia game, because people are talking about Jalen Milroe being hurt, and we'll talk about the comments from Tyler Booker this morning on the Next Round Live and from Kalen DeBoer today in the Naylor Stone media room. But they're talking about him being hurt, and they're talking about him being hurt somewhere in the Georgia game, taking a tackle. And look, whether you're hurt or you're not, he's out there. I just think that the problems in the run game, Mason, are the reason, you got people, why aren't you going to Ty Simpson? There's multiple reasons why you're not going to Ty Simpson. Not that Ty's not a good quarterback. I think that Ty's probably a talented quarterback, and I think that if you're Alabama, the Alabama coaching staff, you want Ty to stick around, and I think that you're probably going to want to move to him in the future. But right now, look at this offense. You can take the side bench Jalen Milroe, but I am staunchly in the side that you can't. You literally cannot, for multiple reasons. First, leadership. What did you do last year when you benched Jalen Milroe? What ended up happening? You lost to Texas. You threw 2 interceptions. One of them, I think, was a pick 6, or took Texas down to the goal line. 10-point loss, dramatic. Everybody, the sky's falling. You benched Jalen Milroe, and what happened, Mason?
The worst game since probably 2007.
Oh, yes. And you can talk about the players care, and they're all trying, and I believe that. I absolutely do believe that. I'm not going to suggest otherwise, but that USF game down in Tampa sure made it hard to not suggest otherwise. And so they played terribly down at USF without him, because maybe they're revolting. You could suggest that, or maybe, the monsoon in South Florida, or maybe it's just, a combination of everything. I remember Jermaine Burton dropping about a 40-yard touchdown pass in South Florida. I wonder if Tyler Butner would have still been the starter if Jermaine Burton holds on to that ball. That ball was right in the red basket in the end zone. But drops it, becomes an ugly game. You grit it all the way down to the wire, down your teeth. And so I contend you can't bench Jalen Milroe, because what's going to happen in the locker room? Now, I do think the guys are mature, and they're not going to just lay down and say, we're not playing for Ty Simpson, or we're not playing for whichever quarterback you want to nominate here. But I do think it's a question. I think it's a hard question. And a question that, would you, after what Jalen Milroe did for this coaching staff last spring, the second that it's announced that Kalen DeBoer is going to be the coach, where is that what? Where? That's why I wasn't at the airport, because I was at the facility. Kalen DeBoer's landing. They're getting the players into the facility to welcome Kalen DeBoer that night. It was bone cold that night. I remember outside Malmore Athletic Facility, and Jalen Milroe walks in, and all the fans are cheering him, and Jalen Milroe, roll tide, just like he does, and says, and I'm staying. Just right off the bat before meeting him, and I'm staying. Jalen Milroe leads your charge to say, these are the new coaches, these are the direction. Malachi Moore, you talk about the outburst a couple of weeks ago. Why don't you bench him? Why does Coach DeBoer have his back? Oh, you might question some of these other senior leaders and some of their play. But that's why they're still playing. That's why you're not going to bench them. That's why you cannot take them off the field. Because you take them off the field, you're saying these guys that vouch for us, that we said we believe in, that we said were the leaders of the team, that we might have named the permanent captains of the team this year. And you can debate whether that's a good idea or not. But Mason, you cannot take him off the field for that aspect alone. But you want to put it on the field. You want to say, okay, the players are mature. They're all going to want to put good tape on in the field. They've all got pride. Of course, I think that's true. Schematically, you've got a team that can't or isn't running the football traditionally. It's one or the other. I mean, we are hoping it's that they aren't. But
it does seem to be that maybe they just.
But there might be a thought or a theory from the coaching staff that says we cannot rely on this, so we can only dabble.
What do you think would be this? I mean, you mentioned earlier, potentially the best interior offensive line in the country. I mean, I don't know. I don't understand what about the offense could lead a coaching staff to believe, okay,
I think
it
takes
a while to get the run game going usually.
I think a little bit of that, and I think there might be
holdover those kind of football.
No, I think my own theory. You're gonna we're just putting it out there. Thank you. This is why I'm bringing you in there, because you're gonna draw. I think a lot of they got some effort issues with 57, is what I think it is. Some consistency issues with 57, and I think because of that, and really. A little bit of schematic issues with controlling your edges is you're having to help a lot. You're seeing
help those tackles, especially James Pierce.
Yes, exactly. I mean, the last 2 weeks you had, South Carolina, you can argue best defensive line in the country. If you don't like that argument, you can throw Tennessee right into that argument as well. You can say, hey, James Pierce, right on par with Kyle Kennard, probably better. They were getting after you. And so I think that you have some, why else are you throwing Wilkin Formby out there for the very first drive in the second half? What's the reason for that? I do think Wilkin's a good player, and you want to give him a chance to keep redeeming himself. Yes, I get that.
That's not the thought you just tossed.
There's got to be a reason for that. There's got to be. We went into halftime and said, who's hurt? Who's not trying? What reps are on tape that we don't like in the first half? Or, if you're hurt, you're hurt. That's understandable. You need an extra 15 minutes to work with the trainer through halftime. Okay, but I would contend that they went in the locker room and said, we don't like the effort that we're getting out of you, 57. We'll bench your butt in a heartbeat. And that's one of the only, painfully, watching Alabama, it's one of the few positions that's getting held to. So, you don't have that leadership factor. You don't have that.
Not here anymore.
Exactly. And you can look, Wilkin's going to give you his 100%. I'll tell you that. I don't know how talented Wilkin is. I think he probably can eventually play for Alabama and, probably has a next level future as a developmental player. But he's going to give you 100%, and he's going to know his assignment. That's the truth. And I hate saying that. I really hate saying that, because I do believe they're all invested. I do believe they're all trying. But just some of the tape over 6 weeks is just like, look, when the young man wants to flip the switch at the end of the USF game, I'm hurt, but I don't care anyways. I mean, give him credit. Give him credit for that. I'm hurt. I'm not 100%, but we're struggling. Let me go in there, give it my shot, and I'm going to go maul some people. The run game opened up tremendously when he did that, but I might think there's a little talent gap between USF and Tennessee. So I think he has the talent. I think he's got it in him. I think it's just a matter of consistency and hey man, you want to be the big nasty? We'd love that for you. They're running right behind you. Yeah, the edge is really struggling. And so you can't bench Jalen Milroe right now without a running game. Because, look, maybe Ty Simpson can continue to do some quarterback run, and I do think he's an athlete, but we're not. Mason, are you stupid? Is Ty Simpson the runner that Jalen Milroe is?
It does bring up an interesting point, though, and I did kind of want to pick your brain a little bit.
Please.
There was a bit of discourse following the Tennessee game, and again, it might just tie back into maybe Jalen slightly injured, maybe he's hurt a little bit, but I did see some people kind of talking about Milroe doesn't really have a ton of open field elusiveness. He's really just kind of straight line fast.
Cam Newton, baby.
Exactly. He does not have much Lamar Jackson.
Vince Young.
Yeah, and
get out and gallop.
I wonder if we as fans have oversold that a bit. Milroe, he's an amazing runner. It's like he can run the ball well, but is he really an amazing runner, or is he just super fast?
I think he's just super fast, and he's very Jalen Hurtsy. He's not as powerful, but just you give me a crease and watch out. I'm gonna hit it, and I'll hit it as hard as I can.
And the edges are constantly getting ran over. It's hard to get outside and.
Exactly. And so what are you going to do here when all your offense is pin and pull, and let's see how far we can get outside you, and, you're stringing it out.
Ty Simpson's going to get you a better chance.
Right.
You are mistaken.
And so the alternative is, they say, if Ty's in there, then you're going to pass the ball better. Well, yeah, but you're going to get a different defense. You're going to get a different look on the defense, and you might have a chance to say Ty can dot you up for hitting these. That's one area, Jalen. Golly. You were doing so well at the beginning of the year. You're just taking the 4, 5, 7 yard pass, hitting CJ Dupree or, Robbie Oots, hitting Kendrick Law on the little drag. Great, perfect. Let those young men work because they're very talented. All you got to do is give them the ball. And so you've got that going on, and maybe Ty Simpson plays that game a bit better, but what does the defense do to respond? Everything has a counter. And so with the biggest problem being right now that Alabama's not running the ball, not or can't, you choose, not or can't. It's one or the other. And because of that, that's why Jalen's playing. Well, the leadership factor is massive. I think that the team believes in him, and I think that, look, you should too. You've watched Jalen really grow for 2 years. Really 3, honestly, from going back to his last start at Texas A&M. And did he play well on Saturday? He'll be the first one to tell you he didn't. I don't know if he was hurt. Today, Tyler Booker was a little confusing. What'd you think of this? If the people didn't see it, the Next Round Live, they do a YouTube show as well, former radio show. Great job. They do a great job. And they have Tyler Booker on every week. And they asked him, is Jalen Milroe hurt or is he dealing with something? And they were very respectful, in my opinion. They just asked him if he's dealing with something. And he went straight up. Jalen Milroe is 100%. Period. First. And then they're asking him another question. And he goes, well, I want to go back to that because I'm sorry, I didn't answer you very well. Kudos to you, Tyler. I mean, you are a great interview. Honestly, you are. You've been great to me anytime we've interviewed together. So if anybody's listening to this, I really, really like Tyler Booker's approach to media, but it was a little weird today. And part of that, look, emotions are really, really raw and really high right now. And again, no one can. You think you care more than the players? You're wrong. You're just wrong. These guys have not been able to. Right. They've not been able to use their cell phones for 3 days. Let's just say that because of you. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But he gets in. He says, okay, actually, I want to go back. I said he's 100%. We're all dealing with things. It's SEC football. Everybody's dealing with, little things. Nobody's really at 100%, but he's good to go. He's given us the best chance to win. So that's a real answer and a real good answer. Kalen DeBoer, same sort of thing. Really, really glossed over it. basically, is Jalen Milroe dealing with anything? And he gave the same sort of, it's the SEC. Everybody's a little nicked up right now, but he's good to go. He's ready to give us a great chance on Saturday. We believe in him, XYZ, ABC. Online rumors, and I want to make that very clear. Online rumors suggest that Jalen Milroe on the second drive of the game injured his hand. That he took a hit, injured his hand, and that is what caused accuracy issues. I mean, my goodness gracious, with the what should have been a 25-yard check down to Justice Haynes. I mean, I know you're all seeing the screenshot and you're all wanting him to run or to throw it to Ryan Williams on the post, but Justice was his choice, and he airmailed Justice. It was terrible. That's a terrible pass. And if you ask him, he'll say the same thing. He's not he is very self-aware. But suggestions are that he hurt his hand on the second drive of the game and battled through it. And again, you could say, well, why did you go to Ty Simpson? Every reason why we said earlier. You're not utilizing a traditional run game, and really a lot of your route concepts were vertical down the field, as you've been all year. You weren't doing a whole lot of rough routes, weren't doing a whole lot of let's hit the slant and just get the ball out real quick, which Nick Sheridan, please, let's get a little quick game going. Maybe that's not his specialty, but come on, give me a little slant to Ryan Williams, a little slant to Jeremy Bernard or something.
Jeremy Bernard is sidebar. He is turned on.
Oh yeah.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
He has become a very, very reliable runner.
And so you're not benching Jalen? Is that where I'm at? That's kind of where, like,
We're not.
It's literally not an option. Period. And so if you are suggesting that online, I only have nasty words for you. I'm not going to say them right here, but you make me want to throw my phone against the wall when I'm scrolling on Twitter, because you're just not using your brain. I know you think, well, Todd's highly recruited. We don't want him to go in the transfer. Yes, you're right. We don't want him to go in the transfer portal. But right now, for this team, when Alabama lines up against Missouri, and for the next 5 games, right, there's only 5 left. It's Missouri, or is there 6? It's 5. It's Missouri, Oklahoma, LSU, Mercer, Auburn. 5, right? I'm not missing any. Yeah, it's those 5. 7 games in, 12-game season. Right. You're playing with Jalen Milroe, period. Unless he's actually hurt. Unless Jeff Allen says, hey, man, he's just not going. He's got a broken bone, this, strained muscle, that. And look, I hope that came through on the microphone. Knock on wood. We're not hoping for any sort of injury at all. But I'm just telling you, just you ride with Milroe or don't watch the games.
He still gives the team the best chance to win, I think. I don't think we can really say that he doesn't. Had a couple bad breaks last few weeks. I think I don't think it's
those Vanderbilt turnovers were not his fault.
No.
Either of them.
No.
Now, 2 terrible turnovers. Both of them were on other people.
Once you get to Tennessee.
All right, which one do you want to go to first? Goal line interception or interception to lose the game? It's a horrible throw. It's a horrible throw, but
I get the thought process. In practice, it's just not. It's not going to work. I don't know. The other one, the game-ending one. I mean, that's I'll that one I can almost give him a little bit of slack for. You're trying to make a play at the end of the game. You're trying to just make something happen. Sure, whatever. But that first one, I mean, we've been saying it is really just unfortunate. Press.
Mason, this is a big experiment. I left the music on this whole time, that rock music, I think. I hope I didn't. But I think I did. I had a buddy just text me. So if I did, I greatly apologize. This is a first experiment. We're working our way through this. It's all good.
It'll get better as we go.
It will. We're talking about Alabama and Tennessee clearly now. On the goal line, though, okay, it's a bad throw. And you're right. Like, you got to do it. You have to deliver a better ball. Everything. But can we just circle it back to what are we doing?
Yeah.
On the goal line, 10-yard line, 8-yard line, turn and hand the bleeping football. Hit every curse button on my board. Because, just turn and hand the ball off. Why are we asking? Look, I am a Jalen Milroe fan, if you haven't figured it out. I like the guy. I like his game. I think that as a college quarterback, you can really win with him. I think he's really grown in his game. Obviously, he's not a finished product, and we hopefully are criticizing him fairly for a poor game. But look, why are you asking him to throw a goal line fade? Now, he does it on the next drive as kind of a, hey, let me show you that I can. But neither call are good calls. Neither calls are high percentage plays. And I know Ryan Williams is a freak. I get that. Neither call from an offensive coordinator standpoint are a high percentage. Those calls are called. The red zone play calling the entire year has left me just saying, what in the world? It's been pin and pull, quarterback sweep to the left. It's been let's nub you and get to the wide side with a big sweep with either, you've had some almost no creativity. The passing game, you saw it all. Goal line fades. That's what you're working with. Like it is horrific, the approach in the red zone. And I was sitting next. I'm gonna not call somebody out, but call somebody. I was sitting next to somebody in the Vanderbilt press box. Up in the red, Alabama's in the red zone. Alabama pin and pull. Jalen Milroe scores, and I turned to Katie Wyndham, who I will name because we've complained, and I said, I mean, it worked, but the creativity is awful. I mean, this is like you can call the offense from the press box, from your couch. It doesn't matter if you're watching the game from India, from Australia. If you're watching it and you've been watching this team, you can call, oh, probably pin and pull to the left. Oh, probably sweep to the right. Oh, maybe goal line fade. Or it is beyond elementary inside the 15-yard line. And look, I'm not asking for you to do any sort of double reverse or any sort of, but just start to run some real offense. You are basically, when you get down in the 15-yard line, saying, I have nothing except for this monstrous athlete at quarterback. And look, does it spam work against Western Kentucky and USF? Of course. Great. Awesome. But when you're playing against a top 15, top 10, top 5 defense in the country, you can debate with your mama where Tennessee is, but they're good. They're really good. You're inside the 15-yard line, and your best bet is goal line fade. Now, look, Ryan's good. Great athlete. But can we not? Like, where is your attitude there? And so save your man Jalen Milroe one interception here. You're asking him to make an NFL-level throw, which, of course, he wants to put on tape for the scouts, of course. And
he has done it at times.
He did it the 2 drives later when he gets down the opposite way. But it's just neither call is conducive to the offense, in my opinion, and neither call is creative. And so it just leaves a ton to be desired. And people, you can rightfully claim and complain about the interceptions. That one was bad. It was a horrible throw. But why are you putting him in that position? The second interception is all on Jalen Milroe. There's nothing you can say to really forgive him. It's trying
to make something happen when there wasn't anything there, really. Trying to force the ball when it wasn't there.
Oh, it's open. It's the open man. It's the right read, but it's just another bad pass where you're behind him and you're letting walk-on Will Brooks from Mountain Brook High School or whatever. Good job. Great for you. You get your moment against Alabama. You can go tell your grandkids. It's a horrible throw. It's a terrible, terrible, terrible throw. And over the middle with the game online, I mean, I hate putting this out there, but to me, and you can please disagree at Joe Gaither 6 on the comments section. But to me, it looked kind of like a bleep it throw. Just saying, it just kind of looked a little like, hey man, we're firing it in there.
Let's go home.
Let's see what happens. It's fine. It's tight window, and it was just disappointing. So
you wonder if all of the throwing,
47 throws.
Is this just what the Kalen DeBoer offense wants to be like with his quarterback in there? He's just trying to force fit a square into fit a square peg into a round hole with Jalen Milroe here.
I certainly hope not, because I think you have to have look. I try to be as modern as you can be, but I do think you have to have a running game. I don't think you have to just run the ball all the time, get under center and wishbone it. But I think you should have some attitude. Oh my God. I mean, from the running back, not, I mean, and quarterback is fun. It's great, but he's a great athlete.
They're great. It's like,
Mix the mixing in.
yes, but we should not rely on the quarterback
The
to get the
wrinkles.
run game going.
Exactly. He should be the wrinkle. He should be, I've given this ball to Jam Miller 7 times now, and you're getting tired of tackling Jam Miller for 4 yards, but you're going to keep doing it. And whoop, I'm going to take it for 70 yards. And you did. I mean, utilization is all wrong. The disbursement is all wrong. And so it's really frustrating. More topic of the offense, Mason. You know where to go. 4th down, 22, screen pass to Justice Haynes. You want to open this, and I'll just respond to you. You just give me what do you think?
What are we doing? If I remember correctly, that is a we're in there in a moment where the defense just gotta stop. We get in super deep. So, your defense already showed it can get one stop. All you need for them to do is get another one. So just punt the ball back to them. Put your defense back out there. Let them do what they've been doing the last 2 drives. And then go out with, 45, 50 seconds left to try to win the game. Instead, just throw I don't even know what you call it. It's not a prayer because it's a screen. So you try to make something, you try to catch them off guard, I guess, try to catch them on their heels maybe by throwing a screen pass underneath.
Now it's an unusual call, but
I think I see where he's coming from with it, but it's not the way that, I maybe would have played that.
If you watch it back, I know we've been doing a lot of hammering on Nick Sheridan, but if you watch it back, he's one Ryan Williams block away from getting there. He is. And it goes back to execution all day long. Alabama didn't execute anything really offensively. It's an unusual call, but you're the coach. You think we need a touchdown to win in that position. You're down 21-17. Touchdown to win. We'll drive. 4th and 22. You're going to either you're going to need to get a stop right there where you got the stop, and give up the field goal, or get a stop, and you've punted it back and you've lost the time. So really the risk is negligible, because if they kick a field goal, a touchdown still ties it. You're not out of range. A touchdown, if you want to go win it, 2-point conversion, bam, you've cut their heart out right there at the end. So it's still all right there. You didn't really change the math there. Oh, and the play call just almost worked. So that's not really one that I will hammer at as much, just because the execution almost made it work. And from a math standpoint, from a time standpoint, you saved all the same time with your timeouts, and you got the ball back, 20-25, pretty much the same place that you would have gotten with the kickoff, and then bleeping through your interception. But your 4th down play there, you may as well just go for it. Just call your best play. And if they felt that was their best play, you can, again, debate that with your mama. But I think that if you look at it from the big boy angle, Ryan is almost making a block, and Justice has a chance to make a play right there. So that's one that I don't feel as bad about. Yeah, please.
Before we move on to the offense, I do want one. Caleb Odom.
I have him in my discipline category.
Okay.
If you want to talk about that.
No, let's table it and get when we get to the discipline.
Oh, my Lanta. I mean,
what's happening there?
Discipline category is an hour and a half long. False start, illegal substitution, falling down, faking injuries, retweeting fans. The discipline category is a mile long. Oh my, it's ridiculous. It's terrible. Before we continue, we're about to flip to the defense, and I want to tell you about our friends, Druid City Music Hall. They are the premier place for live music on the Strip. You can check them out online at druidcitymusichall.com/shows. On Thursday, you're too late. They're sold out. Alex Warren's going to be playing on Thursday. On Friday, sold out again. Maddox Baston. That's why you got to go online right now and get your tickets, druidcitymusichall.com/shows, so that you can see on Saturday, November 2nd, it's a Bama bye week, country music star Ashley Cook. Easy chance to see an up-and-comer right there on the Strip, druidcitymusichall.com/shows. You can get your tickets for the next available show. It's Saturday, November 2nd. Miss Ashley Cook will be in the house, and that'll be a lot of fun. You won't have anything to do because Alabama is going to be resting. Maybe they're going to be bounced back after a homecoming game against Missouri, and we'll have all week to talk about Missouri. But let's see. You ready to talk about the defense?
Yeah, let's move. Will.
Go take it.
I didn't think really the defense. I mean, look, there was a lot of bad spots. Don't get me wrong, but that's not where your main gripe should lie. Is defense after this game. You know, they did everything they needed to do for Alabama to still win.
24 points. You walked into if you on Friday night says Alabama's holding them to 24. What are you saying?
That's a win.
We love it. We say great job.
So defense. Just barely did its job, but they did it. Defense did its job, and we can get into
what's up with the secondary, Mason?
Yeah.
What's up with every team that you play? Now, I got a question. Is it Alabama's blanket coverage? Is it bad wide receiver play? Is it bad quarterback play? I mean, Carson Beck played really, really well, especially in the second half, getting after you, and Nico connected on that one bomb pass. Really, Lenore Sellers, I don't think had one long one. Did he have one long one? But you still had, opportunities week in and week out against this secondary, and almost every week, save for that Georgia game. I mean, shoot, I guess Vanderbilt got you as well on that 4th and 1 for a big bomb shot. They've gotten so unlucky again this week.
Lucky again. I think if Nico Iamaleava was Iamaleava, sorry, couple tries, but if he was throwing the ball like like most of us know he's capable of doing and actually connected on many of the throws that he missed, Tennessee probably has 45 points. He really bailed Alabama out a lot by missing a lot of open receivers. I think we talked about it before we got on the show. I can think back just picturing it in my head at least 4 different times.
3 or 4, yeah.
Receivers streaking wide open, no one within 5 yards, and this is outstretched hands by yards. Alabama catches a break there again, but it was what's happening back there? I don't think it's a lack of talent. One thing I don't want to think it's a lack of talent is inexperience. Obviously you mentioned Keon Sabb. He was, we'll get to that, but he was dealing with issues there.
Well, why don't you go take it? Because one of those deep shots would have hurt Alabama really, really badly, opening up the second half. Nico Iamaleava throws a deep shot to Squirrel White, and it would have been a tough catch, but it was in his hands. And then
Keon Sabb breaks his
foot, but sells out, breaking up the play.
I mean, yes. Incredible play, incredible effort. He has been an excellent addition to this defense, but he breaks his foot, stays in the game, plays the rest of the game with that broken foot. You can't say that helped him. Obviously that I'm sure led to some of the busted coverage.
They said that he was already hurt coming into the game, so he plays the first half on a maybe fractured foot or so, maybe like semi-injured foot, and that was the play that said, "Boop, you're done."
Okay, so warrior, gritty player, great, awesome that you stuck it out and toughed it out and played the game, but at some point your cornerback dealing with a broken foot. Let's let the next guy get in there. Maybe you're hurting a little more than you're helping. So, and you look back to that game, as many times as Tennessee wide receivers were running wide open, you think maybe he did hurt, maybe.
Well, let's talk about three times the Alabama defense did come up really, really strong. You got an interception from Malachi Moore. You got an interception from King Mack. And you got a strip from Malachi Moore that I think it was Keon Sabb that came up with it. So one of the defensive backs came up with it. But again, you're bleeping offense. You give them 3 gifts. I mean, look. How is this game different if Alabama, who chose to receive smartly, I think, chose to receive so that, the idea is you march down the field, you get up 7-0, and you quiet the crowd. Well, you didn't do that, but maybe let's say you did. You take advantage of some of these turnovers. You might have been up on Tennessee 24-0 before.
It could have looked very similar to that Georgia.
Yes. But the offense is just awful. So kudos to your defense for getting those 3 turnovers. How do you want to grade him against Dylan Sampson? Because that was my biggest issue coming into the week, stopping Dylan Sampson because Nico has been erratic, and Nico was erratic again. Do we give him a good grade because he didn't go berserk? It took him 20-something carries to get the yardage. or do we give him a bad grade because it was 130 some yards and 2 touchdowns? You told me it earlier. 139 yards on 26 carries with 2 touchdowns. Is that a F plus? What are we thinking about that?
Yeah, I am not one to play if this play doesn't happen, you take that play out. They had a pretty good performance. No, you got to take the whole performance. You got to take everything that Dylan Sampson did against this defense. He had 139 yards and 2 touchdowns.
So that's bad.
So that's bad.
That's a bad day.
Bad. That is a bad day for the defense.
If you thought Cedric Johnson was bad at 70 and 2 touchdowns, then yeah, that's doubly bad.
It was a bad day. They did some things well, like you said, the turnovers, but overall defensive performance did leave some to be desired. By the end of the game, I think they did just enough to maybe give the offense the opportunity to go win it, but it's not a good performance.
That's terrible. It's an awful performance, in my opinion, just collectively. Maybe I'm just emotional. Maybe I'm just emotional because if y'all know me, we're from Chattanooga and we grew up with the terrible Tennessee Vols reigning terror over my elementary school days. Till a former going through my nightmares. It's a little, every other week I usually can stay pretty objective, but I'm trying not to be so upset.
I remember 3rd grade, big. I'm from, it's pretty close. And that was right around I think that might have been the 12 to 10 year. May have been the year before. But either way, the teacher, Tennessee had Alabama. It did not happen that year when Mason walked into class that Monday and said, "Listen here, Miss Kaylin, roll Tide."
All right, let's tell everybody where we are. Once again, we're in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios right here off of McFarland Boulevard, right past the Tiger Rock on the left. Derek Daniel so kindly lets us hang out in his building, and you can call him at 205-758-3391 for all of your insurance needs, home, life, auto insurance. You need to make sure that you're taken care of with all the crazy things that could happen in this world. We appreciate Derek Daniel for taking care of us. Let him take care of you. Like a good neighbor, Derek Daniel and State Farm is there. You can call him at 205-758-3391. Call and see how much Derek can save you today. We've been building up to it. Look, I'm not going to do the Nick Saban's team. Nick Saban was never had them all disciplined, had them all so disciplined. They never committed a penalty when Nick Saban was the coach.
One of the most penalized teams in the country.
They never had any mental errors or false starts. They never got into fights after games. No, Jermaine Burton didn't have an altercation with the last time Tennessee. Look, we remember selectively all the good times for Nick Saban, and you should. I'm not here to take any second of your joy away from that because it was a great 17 years. But it wasn't all sunshine and roses. You had Georgia Tech running through you like bleep through a tin horn. Georgia Southern. Did I say Tech? Yeah, Georgia Southern. I might have said Tech, but it definitely was Georgia Southern, and we want to give them their proper credit. Running through you like bleep through a tin horn. We remember that quote. You had A.J. McCarron and Barry Jones fighting right there at center field of the national championship game. We all think back to the USC season opener, or what was that? The 2015, the 2016 defense all wanted to fight each other on the sidelines. I mean, there was some times.
Championship game against Georgia. What was it? 2018.
Oh yeah,
altercation on the sideline
with the coach.
Yep. So
it happened.
Saban had his fair share of issues.
But
flare-ups, because they were always resolved.
They were always resolved. Thank you. We're not resolving them. It's been.
Do you think Saban would have suspended Malachi Moore after the Vanderbilt?
1,000%.
Yeah. I hate to bang the drum of this would have never happened under Nick Saban, but this would have
not for the whole game.
No, first half.
But it had been a first half or first quarter. It had been a first drive, maybe.
Hey, buddy, wake up.
It wouldn't have been long. And maybe the fans, maybe he would have been able to sell it to the fans like he rolled his ankle in practice and we just held him out of a series. It might have been something like, or he was just taking a bathroom break before. Like he would have spun it in a real way that covered for Malachi because he never threw anybody out there. And he always liked to keep things internal. But yeah, he probably wouldn't have, there would have been a tangible punishment that we would have, oh, he's not out there with the ones right off the bat. Second drive, yeah, he's out there. But the discipline's not getting fixed, and it's coming to a head. Look, I'm just going to throw you the wheel, and you can we'll just hit them all, but you can pick where you want to start. I got pregame cigar. I have penalties with a extra asterisk for Mr. Kendrick Law. I've got the jump shots. I've got Mo Linguist pushing down King Mac. I've got Caleb Odom retweeting the fans. I've got Alabama fans needing more discipline. And even you, Tennessee fans. So, Mason, you just pick our direction. We'll hit them all. Where do you want to start?
I think we have to start with the pregame cigar because that set the tone for the day.
What are you doing? And again, look, I am not going to sit here and argue with Josh Chapman because if you know Josh Chapman, you saw the picture. You saw the photo on social media. Josh Chapman, defensive lineman here at Alabama, 2008 or 2009 to 12, somewhere in that range, played several years for the Indianapolis Colts, is currently in some sort of player personnel role for Alabama, has been for several years. Key figure in recruiting and key figure in just keeping everybody happy. Absolutely a key figure. But my mercy, what a mindless, look, he probably didn't think about it.
I really don't even think he did.
It was probably, where's my cigar for the trip? Look, they're all packing them. We're not going to sell you something different. They're all packing cigars, and they should plan to win. Definitely plan to win. I am in support of that. But I think that he probably tucked it behind his ear on the plane or tucked it in his shirt pocket on the plane or something casual, and getting off the bus, that was just where it went. Probably. That was just, hey, man, easiest spot in the mouth. I'm just going to pop it in my locker when we get in there. And so he probably thought nothing about it. It was probably not even an avert, I'm going to carry this cigar, we're going to win. But it totally gave off, we've already won this game. And
got to be more self-aware.
And while, look, it gave that off to the fans, to the people on social media, the people who aren't taking a single snap. So look, what it gave off to you didn't really matter. But did it seep into the locker room at all?
Crazy to think that it maybe did.
Yeah. Like in a time where you lose, everything's under scrutiny. And so, boom, we'll start right there. And you can argue that it didn't matter, Joe, and the players all had their cigars too, and they all took it seriously. And yeah, they looked like they played hard, in my opinion. But just like there's just been a general lack of respect for the opponent throughout the entire season this year, except for Georgia, really.
Yeah, I talked to some people at the Home Depot. It's just like it's almost like the team bought into its own hype. You know, they bought into the Kool-Aid of, oh, you're stupid if you think Alabama's going to take a step back. They've been retired. It's like they bought everything they read about it, and here we are. You get punched in the mouth a couple weeks in a row. Vanderbilt beats you up. You go to South Carolina, have an ugly game. You get punched in the mouth again, and here we are.
I'm not a Paul Feinbaum lover, but he makes some good points at some points. Look, ain't nobody afraid of you anymore. Yeah. No one is afraid of the Alabama across your chest right now. Zero people. No one.
You think Kalen DeBoer is intimidating anybody, you are wrong.
And I don't even care about him getting fired up on the sidelines, but he is just an unassuming figure. You've got to go intimidate them with your play, with your efficiency, we're not making mental mistakes. We're making every reception. We're wrapping up every tackle. And there's just been a general carelessness. And now look, as we outlined, this carelessness has been in the program for many years. You went up to Knoxville 2 years ago. It was fresh on your minds this weekend. 17 penalties up in Knoxville 2 years ago. You get the late pass interference. Go debate whether it was pass interference with whoever you want, but you can't debate that it was late. Like, it was a really tough day officiating-wise, but you still had 17 penalties, and you want to say, oh, that was an anomaly. Well, go back 5 weeks earlier in that same season. You go out to Austin, Texas, and win 20-19, getting 16, 17 penalties. Oh, well, that was just – road. No, you have been an undisciplined team for years now. You think back to losing at LSU to Bryce Young's Heisman Trophy season, right? Or was that the year after? I always get them confused because they were both so good. But 22, you lose 2 games at LSU and at Tennessee. You should have lost at Florida, I think, that same year. Like, you have been undisciplined in almost every road game for the last 3 years.
did Saban just get out at the right time?
Yes.
I mean, he saw the writing on the wall. He knew what was coming with this team, with the program, with just the wave of
Well,
college football as a whole.
If Saban stays, you don't have as much turnover. You still probably have Caleb Downs, sure, but you still are dealing with turnover. I mean, to a degree, with transfer portal.
It happened the last 3 years of his coaching. It was 25 players in the transfer portal, 30 players in the transfer portal every offseason. You replace every coordinator, you replace every assistant coach. So, the turnover still would have been there. It wouldn't have been quite at the level, obviously, but it just, just makes you wonder if Saban kind of knew what was coming and just said, let me go ahead and bow out while I still have my reputation.
All right, so let's keep going. My next one is Mo Linguist and King Mack and the defense. You can take the Alabama goggles if you want to and say that King Mack was strained muscle and hurt or whatever, was trying to sub off and didn't get off the field in time and confusion and went down, this, that, and the other. Kane Womack pretty much gave you the Kool-Aid today in his press conference, talking about we instruct our players to go down when they're hurt, this, that, and the other. It was a weird moment, and just shows me, look, everybody in college football is faking injuries, so I'm not going to condemn you, King Mack. That's not what I'm doing. I don't care that Alabama, coached him to do that. I don't care about that at all. But why did they do it? They didn't do it if it was a fake injury, and I'm going to assume that it might have been because King Mack miraculously came back into the game, played the rest of the game, is what it seemed like. Warrior, you got the interception, great player, heart on display. He miraculously came back, so I'm going to assume it might have been a fake injury. I don't care about that, but what I care about is lack of execution. You're going to have a player, hey, we need an extra second. Like, are we not...
lack of preparedness.
Are we not practicing these things? Because you're looking like a coaching staff. And look, I have enjoyed covering these guys. They have been super nice and very hospitable to us as media. And they have given very thorough answers a lot of the time. And look, I'm appreciative of it. And I'm pulling for them to do well. But several times a week now, I'm scratching my head thinking, were you not ready for this situation? Or what are you thinking? You get duplicate numbers at Vanderbilt because you don't realize that you're sending Ryan Williams out there and you're in punt safe. Like, connect these dadgum dots. Sabian Brown got to come off the field. You got to do something or get a new returner. Like, just little details week in and week out. The end of half sequence at South Carolina looked to me like you guys had never coached a game in your life. Is this the first time you've played Madden and you're picking up the sticks and you're figuring out timing as you go? Like, Madden's not a one-to-one comparison at all, but there's just like some things that are weak.
Seems to be just some fundamental problems that are not being.
I don't get it. I don't understand what it is because I refuse to say.
He's not trying.
Right. I refuse to say that, and I refuse to say that XYZ coach is stupid or is incompetent because I think that they're smart people and I think that they're trying, but I can't identify the missing link. And so, Mo Linguist pushing down King Mack. It's not really the end of the world, but I just don't know what to do with it.
It's just strange. There's not really a whole lot else to make of it other than it was just weird. It looked like nobody really knew what to do in that situation. So he was like, oh, get out. It was just general unpreparedness from the coaching staff down to the players, down to everything. This is not something that we have become accustomed to with Alabama football. Nick Saban was all about the process. Do your job. Slipping a bit. It's strange.
I really hate the way this show has gone today, Mason, mostly because Alabama lost, but because we've done a lot of criticizing of Nick Sheridan, which I think most probably does, rightfully so. But I really like Nick Sheridan. And I really loved the way that he handled the answer today because he got the question, hey, coach, we're seeing clips on the 4th and 1 where Jalen Milroe barely got it. And Jeremy Bernard and Ryan Williams are doing what? Jump shots on the exterior of the play, on the perimeter of the play. They're not in block. They're not blocking anybody. They're not driving off the football. They're not giving you a real fake. And so it looked very unusual. And before I get into Nick Sheridan's response, I will do a little defense in just saying what the hell are they supposed to do anyways?
Yeah.
It's a quarterback sneak.
I mean, you see it in the NFL fairly frequently.
From the outside, they're not really involved in the play. Now, you can argue that they should assume that it's not going to be a 1-yard play, that they should assume that go block a guy on the exterior and maybe Jalen Milroe will break it. Yeah, absolutely. Great assumption. And I will have no argument there. Valid. But those circumstances are rare, very rare. Now, and you can also make the argument, hey, buddy, why are we in 11? Or it was either 11 or 12. Why do you have two? I think it was 12. Why do you have 2 wide receivers out there? Just go ahead and get in big boy formation, old school black formation from Coach Nick Saban, and let's all Bush push this brotherly shove. You can make that argument as well. But I love what Nick Sheridan said today. Did you hear him in his press conference?
I did not hear it. I did.
Let me make sure I read it right. So what did you think about it? And I'll get this quote.
I think it's kind of a funny way to answer it. When I can appreciate him not just responding like a smart aleck and being like, well, what do you want him to do? Because I think that you make a very good point there. There wasn't really anything for them out there on the edge.
His quote is, there's nothing on the field that we're not coaching. So that's how I'd answer that. What did you hear in that?
Shut up. You don't know what you're talking about.
A little, but I don't think that's what it was. I think that Nick Sheridan showed class, not ass, class. I want to be clear. I know sometimes I mumble. Showed class by taking the question and owning it that, it is something that's being coached or this is being coached. But I think, I don't know, there probably was a serious discussion between Nick Sheridan and Jamarcus Shepard. And I think there was a serious, what in the world is this? Now, I don't think he was unaware, but I think that once it became, right, online, I'm sure that there was a discussion between them. Should we really be doing this, that, and the other? And I think that Nick Sheridan covered for everyone today. I think Nick Sheridan covered for the wide receivers by not saying, oh, yeah, they just did that on their own. They just are rogue. We don't coach them to do that. I don't know what they're doing. I think he covered for Jamarcus Shepard by saying, hey, on that play, that's their coaching instruction, just to don't get hurt. Don't, stay out of the way. Don't get hurt. Because really, that's your goal. Get to the next play. Don't get hurt. Don't get tangled up. Have somebody roll an ankle in a bad spot. I think he might have, now he was not aggressive. That's not the right word. And he wasn't standoffish. That's not the right word either.
Reading it,
it's very blunt. Yes. We're addressing that. That's being, everything is being addressed.
Well, if that, again, like I said, I didn't actually hear it, so I didn't get to hear the tone of his voice, and I think that changed things a lot, reading it versus actually clips. I'll have to go back and listen to it. But
that was just my feel.
If that is the case, I feel pretty good about that. I like that answer a lot. I think that's a great way to address it. I'm the OC. I'm going to take the blame here. I'm not going to throw my guys under the bus. I'm not going to throw my assistant under the bus. Especially not going to throw the players under the bus. Because look across the state, maybe say other things about
that. You can absolutely say some things about that. And you can make that commentary really about the whole Alabama staff, I think. I think the whole Alabama staff does a really good job in their media availability. Whoever's being addressed, whatever coach, whatever department, whatever questions being asked, the coach is pretty quick to say, that's my responsibility. I'm coaching that. He's getting better. He's developing. He's working through it. Very much, it's our response. And so, yeah, while you're struggling right now and everybody hates it, I understand you hate it too. I think the coaches are at least trying to take the right tack publicly and probably privately in kind of running interference for the blame.
Let's not forget this is the first year that this staff has all been together. So, it's going to take some time to figure out exactly how we're going to address everything. It was by the 17th year, we knew exactly what he was going to tell us when he had media available.
Oh, horrifically, just the script.
You knew exactly what he was going to say week in, week out, and that's how he wanted it to be. And I imagine that's probably how most programs want it. And we'll get there.
All right, you want to go Kendrick Law, Caleb Odom, Alabama fans, or Tennessee fans? Caleb, look.
Disappointed.
Please.
I think it's dumb for me to be disappointed. First off, let me get that right out of the way. This is a kid retweeting things on the internet. Why do I care? but it's the principle. I think it kind of goes back to this general non-caring attitude from it seems like a lot of the team where, I definitely don't want to bring this guy up, but it reminds you of a receiver that was on the team a few years back.
No.
We're not quite there yet, but I think a lot of people maybe know who we're talking about without mentioning his name.
Sure.
And I just have nightmares of that situation happening. And I transfer portal is so easy for players to get into now. And now I won't say waive because it's really only a handful of players who are
Sure.
opting out and taking their red shirts to go play somewhere else, the next season. But
Caleb's is already burned. You can't do it, buddy.
You just, you see things
you got to stick it out.
and it makes you just scared. Like, all right, well, if he wants to, he can just up and leave because that's kind of the way we're at. That's where we're at now. So, I think he may be one of those people that they have to re-recruit this offseason because I do very clearly frustrated with the lack of a role he's getting in the offense. He's almost kind of just run out there like a decoy sometimes, it seems.
Well, what do you expect? You're a true freshman.
Yeah, but you're also 6'5".
You're a true freshman who has changed positions in the offseason. You played tight end through high school. Now, they split you out a lot during high school, so you're used to it. But, my man, you're getting burned. You're getting run. You're getting playing time as a true freshman. What more can you ask for? Now, look, I get it. You want the targets. And for everybody who did not see it, Caleb Odom, after the game, retweeted a couple tweets that suggested that the first red zone fade ball that went to Ryan Williams that was intercepted should have been thrown to a much taller receiver like Caleb Odom. Principle-wise, look, it's not a
thought process.
Yeah, it's not a crazy tweet, not a crazy, suggestion from a fan. Absolutely. If you're going to throw a really high ball, you might as well throw it to the tallest kid you got. But it's just a horrible look. Now, he's undone his retweets, but screenshots live forever. It's just a horrible look for a team that is, you're getting a lot of people preaching how together we are. But I don't really know how valid that is. I don't really know how true that is. If the togetherness is really, at the level that it needs to be. Now, look, true freshman, you can be understandably frustrated. Transitioning to college, I struggled just not having to do football as well. And you think you want to be on the field. Like, he's on the field. He's getting playing time.
I think he needs to be a bit more realistic about where he is. True freshman wide receiver. Let's know where we are.
Now, I definitely want to see more of him on the field. Sure.
And I would love to see him get involved.
Yeah.
But we're not going to force you the ball. You have not proven to be somebody that
at all needs to be forced to. At all, really. Yeah. Like, how many receptions did he have this year? 4, maybe 5, something. Like, and look, I hope that he gets 55 more before the end of the year. Great, go get him, big man. Just seemed like an unpleasant disposition, and just seemed like another symptom of 5. Yeah, 5. Like an unpleasant symptom of kind of what's going on right here. All right, let's finish it up with singling out with the very worst penalty of the. There was a lot of bad penalties, but there was only one that ended probably your best chance. Kendrick Law plays your first game in 3 games. And here am I last week, Mason Woods, praising Kendrick Law and how he's going to unlock the offense again. And I'm sitting there foolish. Now, he got a couple of carries that were big plays. And, yeah, he did have some unlock the offense moments. But, my man, how can you do this? At the end of the game, 4th and 9, third and 10, you get a yard or so. And the Tennessee guys, of course, they're going to be yapping in your ear, dude. They're getting their second win in 18 tries. Is that the right number? 17 tries. They're getting their second win. Goodness gracious, of course he's going to be yapping in your ear. Like, if these Alabama players think of themselves, looking at themselves in the mirror and think we're still the standard of college football, okay, I'll go with you on that argument. I'll just say that that's true for the sake of discussion. If you're still the standard in college football, of course, when you're getting upset, people are going to be talking a bunch of junk. Of course, they're going to be trying to 5-mile dog your butt, just nip, 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 and make you turn around and kick them, and then they'll play the victim, right? Like, this is just the way it goes with the underdog. It's just, unbelievable. how you talk about Coach DeBoer talking about, oh, we got to learn from these situations. The lack of emotional control. Like, why are we doing this 2 weeks after Malachi Moore's outburst? Period. I get it.
It's not a point of emphasis, in practice this week. Hey guys, cool down out there. Like, I don't. Do you think that because it's very obviously DeBoer, Saban, very different style. Do you think that DeBoer kind of has this attitude almost of like, we're gonna let them sort themselves out a little bit more so than Saban did, where Saban like, I'm gonna pull you over here and I'm gonna scream at you for 10 minutes until you get it through your head that you can't do that. Maybe DeBoer takes the approach of like, he knows he did wrong, he'll learn from it. He's an adult.
Yes, but I wish that there was one thing at play. Because look, I have never. Okay, yes, I personally responded as a football player better when my coach yelled at me. I did, but
it also sucked.
It was not fun.
I don't like getting yelled at.
Not fun at all. But you know what was more effective than getting yelled at, Mason? Didn't matter. You could be as calm as can be. Go sit over there. You're on the bench. And I know some of these players are very valuable, making a lot of money in NIL, but very valuable to your attempts at winning. And winning is the biggest goal. But my mans, that bench is a weapon. And it doesn't have to be a permanent solution.
Like we talked about with Malachi Moore. First quarter, in the first drive.
Just a little bit of sitting out there while you're watching your teammates battle.
I think DeBoer needs to have some bit of, enforcer about him.
Yeah, exactly. There's no element here.
No one on this team is scared of him.
There's no element of enforcement. Yes. And look, there might be that I'm not aware of off the field, internally. Sure. Absolutely. I want to acknowledge that. But right now, externally, I'm not in the Coach DeBoer needs to yell at him on the sideline. I don't care about that at all. But there's got to be some way that you're holding these guys accountable. And the law. Right. And so that's what's so frustrating. Seeing Kendrick Law, a team leader who had battled back from an injury, who wanted to be there at the end of the game, the most crucial. But look, if this is ugly suggestion, Mason, so close your ears. But if you wanted to be fired up like that, and you just wanted to fight and kind of make a fool of yourself, maybe do it when you're shaking hands. But like you're in the middle of trying to come back here. Like you are literally
and then to come off on the sideline and like start jawing at coaches and teammates, like, dude, it's not a good look.
Right. No, it's unfortunate. So just more discipline issues. That's it for the players. But I got discipline issues for two fan bases. Do we want to do the victors first or the losers first? Okay, yeah. Winners first. Tennessee. You won the game. Congratulations. Absolutely. You played well enough to win the game. I'm not going to sit here and talk about officiating this or bad break that or bad bounce. I don't care. I don't care. You won the game. Great. Good job. Congratulations. I'll even give you a go balls, right? Great job. But who are you? Who are you? That's what I want to know because, and look, I'll wait for your answer. You can tell me, are you a college football playoff team? Are you a SEC championship level team? Are you just mid in the SEC or worse or what? What are you? I mean, 2 years ago, you break the 15-year streak and rush the field and tear down the goalpost. And while I think it's a little dangerous, sure, goodness gracious, I think that it was very warranted. Tear down the goalpost after a 15-year winning streak is broken in a rivalry game at home. Go bonkers, go berserk. Sure, a little dangerous and, had a little grace for Jermaine Burton. I remember that just because it is a chaotic situation. If you've never been in a field storming situation, it's chaos for sure. And so it's a little scary. Granted, nobody was coming after me at any time, and I'm thankful for that. I didn't have it on any Alabama colors. What if I had on Alabama colors in those chaotic moments? I don't know how my reaction would have changed. But Tennessee, that was 2 years ago. Great job. You broke the streak. Awesome. Then you came into Tuscaloosa and you got up 20 points, 20-0, I think it was last season here in Tuscaloosa before Alabama goes on a massive run and wins the game, breaks your heart, and Nick Saban says goodbye to us all without us realizing it. What a moment. Great. The rivalry is real. The rivalry is live and well. It's close games, bananas. And you have a real coach and you're spending hella money on NIL. You went from Hendon Hooker to Joe Milton to now Nico Iamaleava. Great, talented quarterbacks. You brought in big-time transfers. You've got a great defense. This was an upset on paper by 3 points. It's a 3-point upset. Now, a 3-point upset after a 15-year winning streak, all right, go to the field, tear down the goalpost, throw them in the river. I get it. But have some sense about yourself. Have some class a little bit. I get it. Act a fool after a 15-year streak.
Have some self-respect.
Yes, 1,000. Did you not in July circle this game and say, oh, we going to get their butts again. They're going to come up to Knoxville and we going to get their butts again. You expected this to happen. This was, we were calling it all year. I know on Football Friday, I was a coward. I know. I was talking all week about Tennessee winning, but then on Football Friday, I said, you know what? I just believe like an idiot. But we knew that this was not a surprise. This was an experience. Now, I give you credit. It was very pleasant this time. Alabama got off the field and pretty much all the equipment was salvaged. You didn't damage. I think there was $10,000 rumored of $10,000 worth of damage 2 years ago in Knoxville to Alabama equipment. Okay, so you let Alabama get off the field. Thank you for that. But aren't you our rival? Isn't that what you've been telling us for 18 years, for 20 years? Isn't that what you've been preaching? And we've been saying, no. Like, if you are Alabama's rival, you expect to win this game, and you don't go tear down the goalposts. We'll just say that. Now, congratulations again. Congratulations, but you're better than this. In 2 years, when we're back in Knoxville, if you win again, congratulations. Preemptive congratulations. Absolutely. Want to be a good sport. You might win again fair and square, and that's great. But don't get on the field and tear the goalpost down again. You're better than. Are you Vanderbilt? You're Vanderbilt. No, you're not Vanderbilt. That's not who you want. That's not who you want to be. That's not who you've told the whole world that you are. Vanderbilt tears down the goalpost as expected. That's great. Go have fun, Vanderbilt. Don't you look in the mirror and see a college football power? I mean, you may not be. That's debatable for us, but that's what you see when you look in the mirror. You should act like it and not tear down the goalpost. 2 years after tearing down the goalpost against the same opponent.
Really weird look. It was not a game where it was a shocking result that Tennessee won, and many people thought that could happen. And when it did happen, it was like, okay, cool, good on you. I don't know what you're celebrating for.
We'll celebrate the win. Smoke your cigar.
Sure.
And even getting onto the field doesn't bother me, really. The way they did that part doesn't bother. I mean, heck, Alabama's going to take that $100,000 check for you getting on the field. Thank you for that. Get on the field. Have fun. Smoke your cigars up. Enjoy the win. Definitely. But you look like a fool costing your university whatever thousands of dollars to put in new goalposts.
Did they carry it to the river this time?
I didn't follow it that closely. I was pretty.
That'd be even more sad.
Yes. I don't get. Like,
yeah, it's very strange. It's little brother behavior.
Very. And haven't you been espousing for the last 2 decades that it's still rivalry, this, that, and that? If it is, great. Awesome. We love that. But don't tear down. Get on the field, celebrate it, smoke your cigars with Josh Heupel and the team. I think, you know what? That's kind of cool. But just unbecoming. All right, Alabama fans, you're not exempt, though. You're not exempt. You disappoint me so much. And I love, literally, this is said with love. I love you. You're my best friends. You're my family. You are my support group. You're my community. Really. And many of you who know who you are, this isn't to you. But just the general Alabama fan has disappointed me so much this year in their ability to handle it. You tell the players, get on Saturday, be tough, handle adversity, fight through it, hang in there, take the bad circumstances and keep winning. Look, great messages. You should say that. But just the nasty, criticize the play, Jalen didn't play well. Absolutely. The defense didn't stop the run. Absolutely. They know that, and that's worthy to criticize. But getting after families, getting after people's personals, getting in their mention. Look, don't at anyone, period. Seriously. Don't get on the Twitter at Jalen Miller. Don't do that. He's got his own worries. The offensive line has their own worries. They got their girlfriends to deal with, their classes to deal with. They got all kinds of things in their lives. The Alabama fans' toughness has really now look, I know I'm not asking you to be okay with losing. No, not asking you to be okay with losing at all. But handle it a little better. Handle it with a little class. Don't handle it like, oh, the sky is falling, the world is ending. On Sunday after the Vanderbilt game, I put a post, oh, the sun is coming up, as a joke. Sun came up on Sunday, and guess what? If Alabama never plays another game or never wins another game, sun's probably going to keep coming up. Like, just, I know a lot of this, Mason, is the symptom of Nick Saban's success. I get that. You get spoiled. I understand that. And I understand a lot of these fans, you know, maybe a lot of you listeners, a lot of you viewers were born in, 93, 98. You're born in 01. I know we got a pretty decent track of younger listeners. So all you know is winning. All you know is dynasty. And I'm not sitting here saying you shouldn't want that to continue. You should. But goodness gracious, get a grip. Get a grip on yourself. It's just college football. And okay, I understand you can say, well, I'm just venting on Twitter. I'm just being silly. I'm just getting it out. Okay, I get that a little bit. But get it out in your group chats with your family. Get it out with you. Exactly. Oh, that's what's so. I'm not going to sit here and say, you're going to make them all transfer, because I don't really believe that. But if I was a running back, a wide receiver, a linebacker, and my name was getting drugged through the mud for poor play, now, granted, I would be pretty self-aware because I'd be taking it pretty hard because I hated losing as well. But I might consider going to see what Western Tech State from another university has in mind, even if it is a lesser NIL deal, even if it is a lesser football program, And granted, you can say, well, they're pros, they can deal with it, they're getting NIL. I hate that argument. They are, like, you could say they're pros, but they're not, because Alabama's not paying them. The University of Alabama's not paying them. You are paying them. You're paying them, and I know that a lot of you feel like that might give you the right to say, hey, play better, Billy. But the negativity is just unbecoming. And all you're doing is giving the other 130-something odd fan bases that have been, look, since July, saying, ooh, I can't wait for Alabama to lose. I can't wait for Alabama to lose. And all those people are going to lose their mind. You're giving them exactly what they want. And look, it's okay to care. Look, we love it. You're only watching the show because you care. It's absolutely okay to care. We invite you to care each and every day on BamaCentral.com. That's why we're doing it. But just don't give these other fan bases any room to latch on to you. Take the loss, be mad. I understand. Go to bed angry a little bit. Go to church, pray, have your day on Sunday, just kind of stew around the yard, doing your yard work. I get that. But just think about the impact of maybe your reaction just a little bit more, because you're seeing such a terrible reaction. Look, I get it. You want them to play well. You don't want to be in struggle wins in South Carolina. It is absolutely unacceptable to lose to Vanderbilt. It is, absolutely. And you didn't really play your best game in Knoxville. You didn't. So it's okay to be disappointed. But as Mason said, there's real people that are really in those helmets and really trying. And those real people have real support systems who are also looking up their sons' names online.
Yeah, this is something that has been beat to death for years, but everybody's invincible behind a keyboard. So just remember who you're talking to. Remember that they have families, they have friends, they have people they care about who see the things that you say about them. So just think twice before you send that tweet telling Jalen Milroe that he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn or something.
I understand the frustration. And look,
I fully get it. I have watched Alabama since the time I was a little kid. I have seen them do nothing but dominate pretty much every time they've taken the field, and it's a bit jarring when they don't do that.
Sure.
But just get a grip. It is just football. It's a game. You'll get up and go to work on Monday just like you would any other week.
And guess what? There's probably going to be another game the next Saturday for 12 weeks. I mean, I guess 14, but like you're going to get 12 cracks at this bad boy. So
first year with a brand new coach. Give him a little grace.
The beauty of sports, like we all think, and I do this with the Bears, I do this with Alabama basketball, but we all think this is the only year to ever do this. And oh gosh, like look, have you seen the class of 2025 recruiting class? And I know we might debate it here in the next couple of days if Alabama can hold on to those recruits. But if you do, the cupboard's going to be right at the still full level. And we'll just keep trying to see if DeBoer can put it together, see if he can figure. It's going to take a little bit of time. We all knew that. Just get a little tougher, get behind these. And if you don't want to be behind them, that's fine. You can just turn the TV off or not tweet or delete. Amen. All right, we'll get out of here on that. We want to thank Derek Daniel for sponsoring the program, for letting us in the Derek Daniel Studios. You can find him right off of McFarland Boulevard. We're on Highway 69 North, past the Tiger Rock on the left. You can call 205-758-3391 for all your insurance needs. Red, Reese, and Victoria will be happy to run you an auto, home, or life insurance quote. You can call them today, 205-758-3391. Call and see how much Derek can save you today. That'll be it for the show today. We'll be back tomorrow. We're going to try to get here in the morning because my man Mason's going to help me stay on a schedule. I really, really appreciate Mason Woods for hanging out with us and joining the show. You can follow him at MAWoods_ on the Twitter machine. You can let him know how his takes were a lot better than mine. We'll keep doing it right here on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central and BamaCentral.com.